Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for found footage, the making of the Patterson project, which came out, I guess you would say this year. I hate when they do that. Oh, it was in one festival one year. I'll say for the sake of argument this year, 2025. And it is a, as you can tell, found footage film about the making of a found footage film. And even that's not the most original idea. There have been other films that have done that. Found footage 3D, for example. And there's parts of this reminds me of other ones. There's one called They're Watching, which I remember not minding. And the thing with this film, like the first half I didn't mind. Like the first half when they're making the film, I actually did not mind it. I thought that the acting was pretty decent. I didn't mind the lead guy who was the director. His acting I thought worked well. He kind of reminded me a little bit of, if you took a little bit of the look of Napoleon Dynamite and a little bit of the feel of Mark Borchardt from American Movie, and you put them together, a little bit of that. I like that he had props from films like Daredevil from 2003. This is stuff Bullseye used to kill people, the paper clips of this. I thought that was kind of cool. He decides to make a found footage film. He has two people really close to him, his girlfriend and then his buddy who is an associate producer. Yeah, associate producer Mitchell, played by Chen Tane, which I liked him. I kind of wish he became the lead of the movie. If things had, because I'll say this, like I was saying before, I like the first half more. The third act, not so much the second act, but the third act, it just went into the typical tropes, the typical route, and I wish they could have done something more interesting, more creative, more unique. And I think the horror aspect of this film is very lacking, but the comedy was pretty decent. Because the first half is them holding auditions, trying to get investors, finding the place, filming it, the ups and downs of filmmaking. One of the actors says they knew what they were doing, but they don't. They don't even know how to hold a camera right. So the director has to literally be behind them, holding the camera for him. So he's like, they're in a car. And so the director's like behind the guy in the seat, and his eyes are peeking out and controlling the guy's arm. Or later on, he's holding the camera and the actor's following him. And so when he turns, the actor has to duck. So the camera looks at the other actors. Then when it turns, the actor gets back up. Because the guy doesn't know how to use an actual camera. How audition and casting can screw you over. For example, they were told they were going to get Daniel Radcliffe, which I guessed what the joke was. I'm like, okay, it's going to be someone whose name is Daniel Radcliffe. It's not really Daniel Radcliffe. And lo and behold, it's a lady named Danielle Radcliffe. So it was a predictable joke, but still kind of funny. Or this old lady who's an investor, that she's so out of it, she tried to write a check, but she wrote it on a napkin. It's like, no, you have to write on an actual check. Oh, okay, well, as long as I get to see your star, Alan Rickman. She hasn't realized Alan Rickman has died. And so the running joke is that they hire a guy to pretend to be Alan Rickman. So when she does come, he'll trick her. The casting director saying, well, we got Leonardo DiCaprio's fling before the fling he has right now. But the fling he had before, we have that person. And the frustrations and that was interesting to me. If it kept with that, I think I would have liked this more. I didn't, not original, because, like I said, there was a movie called Found Footage 3D that was doing a very similar thing. But then strange things start happening. They have a guy in a Bigfoot suit, but he gets wounded by a hunter, and so that guy's taken to the hospital. They have food delivered, but the food is rotten. The Asian guy, Chen Tane, playing the Mitchell, he gets possessed that night and he doesn't realize it, and then they watch the footage the next day or two, and he's like, the hell? I don't remember doing that. They'll hear noises. They're like, quiet on set. Then they get there and there's no one there. The people that own the place, they arrive. They're wondering, what are you doing here? Then they warn them to get out. And of course, they won't listen. One thing I should mention that I didn't realize until much later, the guy who's kind of the other producer, you see him at the beginning where he's like, am I a producer? I mean, I don't know about that word. How about a... what was it he said? How about executive... how about creative money controller? Like, executive sounds dodgy. How about creative money controller? This guy named Frank, who owns this furniture store and the director of this upcoming film, filmed this guy's commercials. So he's like the guy that was able to get the money from this investor, and he's kind of the guy pushing the project. I didn't realize that guy was Dean Cameron. Some people may go, who's Dean Cameron? He's Chainsaw from Summer School. Chainsaw! He was also in a film called Bad Dreams. He was the pizza dude in Men at Work with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. And I didn't recognize him because he's kind of looks like me. He's got the ball, the glasses, beard. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, he sounds familiar, like his voice. I'm like, oh shit, it's Dean Cameron. Because I hadn't seen him in a long time in a movie. But that's cool. That was really cool to see Dean Cameron. That was probably the high point for me. I'm like, oh shit, it's Chainsaw. Because I love Summer School. And I especially love the character of Chainsaw. Him and his buddy being big Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans. And they show that to the class and the foreign exchange student and all that stuff. So, yeah. That was pretty cool. It's Dean Cameron. So again, they're going through the ups and downs of filming. The lady realizes she's not really in love with her husband, her boyfriend, the director, anymore. She's really in love with the producer, Chen Tane's character. And he seems like such a sweet, nice guy who's always working hard and tries to have an optimistic attitude. And you're kind of wishing for him to get his happy ending in more ways than one, that way as well as the other way. But, like I said, man, I've been saying that a lot in this review. Like I said, let me repeat 18 more times. In case you didn't hear me say it 10 seconds ago, I'm going to repeat it again and again and again. Which maybe unconsciously I'm doing it because of how familiar the third act was. I was going, could you guys do something a bit more unique? It's 2025. Spoilers. The couple comes in. They have this book. She warns them. They don't listen. The one girl who's boyfriends with the director, she tells them, look, step by step, this is what's been happening. And she's like, this is the steps for a ritual. We need to get out of here, and nobody listens to her. Now, it seems at one point her and the one guy, Mitchell, leave to go to a motel and make out, but they should have stayed gone. That actually would have been kind of creative if those two never came back, and then they're interviewed like in some documentary about what happened, at least that would have been something. At least I would have been like, oh, that's kind of clever. I didn't see that coming. But that was smart. They're like, fuck this. We had sex and now we're going to go home. Good luck with your movie. We'll wait for you when you come back. At least that would have been a kernel of, oh, that's creative. That's like the one thing I liked about, I want to say it was Paranormal Activity 3. There was the one guy who's like, fuck this, I'm gone. And he just quits and he leaves and he never comes back. So he's like the only guy that lives. So, I mean, you just say, yeah, nothing. I mean, a lot of things have been done if you watch enough of these found footage films. But that's not done enough, that kind of thing. I think more of that would actually, I think a viewer would appreciate the character's doing something smart. Yeah, more unique. But instead, they stay, the lady investor comes in, and she seems to be possessed. She tries to bite the fake Alan Rickman. They get her off. Well, not get her, get her off the body, not get her off, But, and dust flies out. She's sleeping in bed. The last day they film, and it's a fun montage where they're filming like the movie within the movie, so you see just how bad the found footage film within. And it's about, oh, I don't want to go to these streaming services. Maybe we'll go to Lionsgate. Maybe we'll go to this and that. And then you pretty much know what's going to happen. I'll say spoilers, but you pretty much guess. They try to get out. They can't get out. It was kind of funny the different ways they're trying to get out. Like they get in a group and they walk backwards, or they try to like tumble and try to do all these different ways. So at least that was kind of funny. And then the shit hits the fan. The fake Alan Rickman, he's possessed and he's naked outside. They crash in. Something falls and crushes Dean Cameron's character. The director, he's pulled into a corner. You see a splat of blood. One person, something happens with their face, and then you see like a little CG explosion. That's the goriest it gets. The nice guy, played by Chen Tang, the Mitchell, he saves the girl. He's like, or he tries to be the hero. Locks the door. You hear him scream, so you hear that he dies. I guess one of the possessed puts on the Bigfoot costume and walks around a bit. The girl gets killed. And then they're all kind of like possessed and kind of walk around like zombies, like part of a ritual. And this one guy, I think his name is Pete, he survives. That cuts to sometime later where, this making of the Patterson project, this was in a museum and people don't know if it's real or fake. And this guy's been in an asylum and can you tell us anything? And he's catatonic and he tries to say something. The orderly comes by. He's had enough talk, and then you get the idea that the orderly is also possessed, or because he says something in an obviously possessed manner. So I guess even at this time, it's still wanting to fuck with this guy, I guess, or maybe just it follows them, like it'll follow that person everywhere. I don't know. They let the guy go because the one woman gave that guy the book, so it's like you'll be protected somehow, or it says I gave you the book, now it's gonna follow your ass all the time. I don't fucking know. I don't care because they're just like, okay, it's your typical ending, typical tropes, and went down the routine manner. And again, I wish there was something a bit more creative, a bit more. Everything hit in the fan after a build-up. That's been done multiple times. They're watching. I mentioned that film without giving spoilers away. And they also had An explosion, hell, more than one. You had a lot more crazy shit happening at the end of their watching. A lot more crazy shit. I'll tell you that. Let's see, kind of remind me of Found Footage 3D. And I thought maybe the comedy of this seemed maybe a bit funnier than that one. That's what makes the third act more disappointing. To just, it didn't follow through on it. A lot of films lately, they missed the mark when it comes to the ending. And the ending is one of the most important parts. Now, I'm not saying the ending has to knock out of the park. I can enjoy a film if the ending's like, okay, it works. But when you have an amazing ending, that's even more rare. But this, I thought the ending just kind of shit the bed. The third act shit the bed. That's just me. If you're a diehard fan of found footage films, you want to see one that's a bit more comedic. If you like them going down at the end to the more routine, pretty much everybody dies route, this could be the movie for you. I'm just saying, I think a lot more could have been done more different, more unique. I thought the first half, it showed some promise, it showed some creativity, it showed, this could be a bit more than your average found footage flick. But yeah, the first half I thought was much better than the second half, at least for me. But with that said, thanks for watching. And also, like I said, the horror was lacking. So that's one thing I did mention. The horror was lacking. It was never creepy. It's never scary. It's not even that creative. The death scenes, other than the one girl exploding and like CGI, the death scenes are pretty forgettable. A lot of the characters you don't even see die. You just assume they get killed. You don't see them again. Or they go by so quick you don't notice. So even that, it's not like you get a big bloodshed, bloodlust, being filled up type of satisfaction. It's not like creatures and monsters. It's just people possessed or someone you barely see in that Bigfoot costume they wore. So there you go with that. But, the acting was not too bad. The comedy, the showing the makings of a found footage, some fun in the first half, but, yeah, not so much the third act. With that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.